Viewfinder. Focus unlocked. Image. One face. Adult. Glasses.
Friends, this is Jack Screenshaw. We are back with one of my famous tab-free lessons. No tabs, no documentation, no silliness, just a lesson. And I was asked to do this particular lesson by a friend of mine. We haven't done one of these for ages. And I'm actually hoping that the camera is working properly. There's been some laughs over some of the videos in the past, and we're going to be redoing songs. But hopefully the camera is working properly. Doesn't really matter if it isn't, but hopefully it is, so you can see at least my right hand here and the fingers of my right hand. Today I'm going to show you how to do chords on the piano or keyboard in 8 keys: major, minor, and dominant 7th chords in 8 keys. So with these chords under your belt, you'll be able to play a little something on the piano, maybe not Beethoven or anything like that, but certainly enough to get a good tune. Now, it doesn't matter whether you're using a keyboard or a piano for this lesson. Fingering is not important. Some people, it's not comfortable to use their thumb. I learned early on, all the piano manuals and tutorials said you use all 5 fingers, you have to use your thumb. Well, my hand isn't comfortable doing that. So if yours isn't, that's fine. All that matters is that you are pressing the right keys and that you can adapt your hand to finger these chords quickly and effectively. There's only one essential piece of kit I think you're going to need long term if you haven't got one, especially if you're playing a keyboard, an electric keyboard or a digital piano instead of a conventional acoustic piano. You're going to need a sustain pedal, a foot pedal to press down with your right foot. Well, in my case, I just use my toe because I haven't got any shoes on. More than you needed to know. Okay, so the left hand is not going to be useless either. Your left hand, in the style of piano that I play, it's a sort of honky-tonk style. 1, 2, 3, 4. And the is provided by the left hand. So you are going to need that as well. Okay, so we've got that established. Now, we'll start on middle C, because that's where everybody starts for some reason. If you can't find middle C, well, very easy to do. Look on your piano, ignore the white keys, and look at your black keys. From the left to the right. Now we have 3 black keys in a row, then a gap. Then we have another 3 black keys and a gap. 2 black keys and a gap. 3 black keys and a gap, 2 black keys and a gap, 3 black keys and a gap, and then we have 2 black keys together. And they're positioned so that you can put your first and second finger, your index and middle finger, on those keys. If you then drop that hand, if you drop that first finger off the first of those black keys, which is a C sharp, by the way, it falls naturally onto middle C, that first finger. I'm then taking my second finger, bouncing that across onto the E note, which is 2 across from middle C, and my ring finger goes 2 across onto the G note. That is a C triad, C major triad. We're not going to get into inversions today, but it's important to know, long term, that these chords can be inverted. Different octaves of a C chord. and so on, all the way up the keyboard. But we'll just stay in middle position here. That's our C chord. And our left hand to play the bass for that C major chord goes here. So it's on, if your first key on the piano is a bass A, move it along 2 keys to the C key, and then your keys go C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. The letters of the alphabet, so it's dead easy to remember. They are your notes that you'll need. And each of those notes has a chord attached to it. And they go in a scale, like this. Getting ahead of myself. So, we'll stay with C. We've got a C major chord. To make it a C minor chord, all we do is we take the second finger of the right hand and move it up onto this black key. Much darker, isn't it? Very dark sounding chord, very, very dark. Now, we'll liven things up again and we'll drop that second finger back onto the white key. By the way, the black key in our C minor chord is an E flat. And for those of you that have jumped ahead slightly, you'll have worked out how these chords work. It's a triad because each chord consists of 3 notes. 1, 2, 3. And it's usually 1, 3, and 5. The notes of your chord. That's how it usually works. The first, third, and 5th note of each scale. The triad. All the odd numbers. There's our C minor. Now, C 7th chord is a little trickier. And we're basically just going to move this right hand up a little bit. You can see on this keyboard they're piano-sized keys, so they're quite big. And I'm going to take my little finger, or the small finger, and drop it onto this black note here, onto the B flat. That makes a C dominant 7. So the chord is no longer a triad, it becomes a 4-note chord. Some people will take the G out and play it like that. I think that sounds a bit hollow. It sounds like there's a bit missing. Some people play it like this. But really, it sounds fuller, this chord, with all 4 notes. If you can pull it off. So, C major, C minor, C7. Now we're going to move across to D. A D major chord up here. So a D major chord is D, F sharp, A. So again, first finger, second finger, ring finger. If you will lower down the keyboard, you could get away playing it here, and how I do that is my second finger stays up in the air and looks a bit rude, and my little finger replaces the ring finger up on the F sharp, up on the black key. But we're going to play our D major up here, just to keep things even. To minor the chord, you guessed it, we just drop that second finger off the F sharp onto the F natural. That is a D minor. Lovely dark chord. The 7th chord, drop the small finger onto the C note. That's one way to do it. Or you can do it like that on the guitar, but it sounds a lot better on the guitar than it does on the piano. So I always play my D7 like this on the piano, just because it sounds that bit better. It also works if you're in the key of G, but we're not, we're in the key of D. So major, minor, major, minor, 7th. Now to E. And I think you're getting the pattern by now. 1, 3, 5 notes. So we take the first finger onto the E note. The second finger this time goes onto the black key, the G sharp or A flat. Third finger goes here onto the B natural. And the small finger is the 7th chord, the E7. For an E minor, what we can do is like that, an E minor triad, so E and G, yeah, we're dropping the second finger off the black note onto the G, but it kind of sounds like there's something missing. So what I like to do, and this is very good for your hand, this will stretch those fingers, is I like to use that small finger to make this a 4-note chord. Just makes it fuller. If you could bring your thumb into play when you play your... Oh no, it's fine. You could do an E minor 7. Sorry, I'm just thinking aloud here. It's very tricky for me to do this, but... And... So I'm having to press 2 notes at a time. My hand is really not comfortable in that position. But you can make it a 5-note chord with your E major and minor 7ths. Now we'll move on to F. The jazz musician's favourite chord, and one most of us other musicians hate. Except piano players. F is not usually played this high up, so I'm going to move my F chord down a little bit in a second, but we'll just give you the basic idea at this end of the keyboard. 1, 3, 5 again with the first, second and ring finger. Minor chord, as you might expect, and 7th chord like that. But as I say, F is usually played down here. Now that's a nice F7 chord as well. Actually, that may be a different kind of... it doesn't matter. So, yeah. The F minor chord is there, and it's slightly different to all the others. Remember, the E minor was like this. Like that, the D minor is like that. Well, the F minor is like the C minor. We bring in a black note like that. And a lot of people, when they're starting out, they tend to avoid the black keys on the keyboard because it's that jump up from the flat section of the keyboard. You're sort of jumping up with your finger. Try not to do that if you can help it, because you'll be glad of these black keys. They are beautiful. You can make great chords with them. Okay, and the F7th. 1, 3, 5. There's the F7, and if we play it down here, That's it. I'm going to get a bit confused at this point. Forgive me, friends. I've not been playing piano all that long. Alright, so there's an F major. Yeah, it is. Yeah, that's the 7th. Anyway, let's move on to our G chord. Now again, G's not normally played up here, but you can. You can play all the G chords up here. G major, G minor. I particularly like the G minor chord. And again, we're bringing in that black note. Beautiful. Beautiful sounding chord, that. And the G7. There's the G7. Usually you'd hear the G chord down here, played like this, or more commonly like this. Sometimes what you can do with the left hand is, rather than playing a bass note, you can make it a full G chord, as my clock goes off in the background, like that. Just makes the chord a bit fuller. G7. G minor. Very Elton Johnish chord, that one. Yes, very reminiscent of Rocket Man. A major. Now, if you're playing your G chord down here, or indeed, if we're playing up here, the A major is a lovely chord because you literally just move the whole hand across 2 keys and then extend the ring finger up here onto that black note for the A major. The A minor is even easier because you've literally just gone sort of a bounce from a major to a minor chord with that B note sort of left on his own. There's the A minor and your A7 right up there, a bit of a stretch, or you can do it this way. That's one way to do it. Or for a fuller major 7th, really stretch it out like that. For a fuller major 7th, bring the whole hand up there like that. And that's your major 7. And our last chord is the B chord. Hardest chord of the lot in the natural keys, because it requires 2 black notes. I like playing it down here because it just sounds fuller. The 7th, really easy. Pop your little finger onto the A, whichever position you take in. So B, E flat, F sharp, A. B minor, in comparison, very easy, and you can get a lovely B minor 7th by doing that. And there's B minor, or if you're playing up here, and there's your B minor 7th. So that is all the chords in the natural keys. Trying to be clever. So there we are. And as I said, this is how you use your bass. Yeah. I have no idea, right? Well, you know, that's